This is a small, beautiful, intimate cruise, so we're going to scrap the mic and just connect, and it's beautiful. I love to do this. I'm typically in large audience environments, and you see nothing but lights. So this is a pleasure. There are human beings at the other side of this table, and it's wonderful. My name is Kivi. It is indeed a pleasure and a privilege for me to be here and spend some time. So given the fact that we're in a small, sort of intimate setting, I'm going to switch course entirely. I'm going to scrap what I plan to share, and I'm going to use this opportunity to share something with you, and I do warn you as follows. The information I'm about to share with you is absolutely life-altering. I mean, this is paradigmic shifting information. I'm going to share with you something from the deep Kabbalistic teachings that will absolutely change the way you see the world, period, bar none. Fasten your seatbelt, and I tell you right now, you're going to walk out of here with a different set of eyes. I want to couch it, just to be fair to the meeting planners, to the topic and kind of have it, find a home there somewhere. And I'll maybe just introduce this idea as follows. I mentioned actually earlier today, one of the reasons that my dad used to share with me, as to why we use honey on Rosh Hashanah and not some other sweetening, agent. Why we specifically use honey. And we discussed a beautiful idea, for those of you that were not there, that once a bee spends its life making honey. Once it stings and delivers a sting, it dies. It's a fatal blow. Because its entire predisposition, in its essence, is to be sweet. It is totally counterintuitive to its being to deliver toxicity and poison and venom. And it dies. This is actually the Jew. The Jew is designed to be sweet, connecting, engaged. We don't do anything but that. And when we do, it's not part of our nature. And on Rosh Hashanah, we kind of message ourselves and we toggle this in our heads. But I'd like to mention another idea that was written by a Turkish Kabbalist in the 14th century. And he wrote a very beautiful idea of why we use honey on Rosh Hashanah from a bee. And he said the following. There are bees in the world and there are flies in the world. A fly you can take to the most magnificent palace. You can bring it to the most abundant, exorbitant, magnificent environment, and it will always find the rubbish, because that's what flies do. A bee you can bring to the most heinous environment that is totally blown out, that is not digestible, manageable, that is unpleasant in every single which way, and it will always find the flower, because that's what bees do. And in essence, this is the decision we make in life as human beings. Are we consistently finding the rubbish? What you guys, there we go. I'll make my plane. This is fantastic. I don't know what their policy is here, but yeah, check that out. Let us know if we have to go.
No, it's like
it's 9 out of 10 times just a trip in.
that comments about
You're right.
Kabbalistic.
Exactly. Blew the whole place up, right? And we haven't even got there. In essence, by the way, this is our entire life experience. And we wake up each and every single day gaining consciousness, and we have to make a decision. By the way, this is the tension in our lives. And we're allergic to tension, incidentally, as human beings. You understand that tension is your best friend. First of all, it means you're alive. If you're not feeling tension, if you're not yinging and yanging, if you don't have a right decision and a wrong decision, if you don't have something pushing you and pulling you, you're dead. You're dead. You're static. If you do not experience tension in your life, you're dead. And you're either voluntarily dead or you're actually physically dead. It's a beautiful thing, tension, and Hashem put it into the world. And it's by His design. By the way, this is coded in the first letter, the word of the Torah. Some other Kabbalistic Hasidus we can learn. The first word in the Torah is what? Bereshit. Right, you want to see something amazing about Bereshit? Bereshit is a construct, says the Kabbalah, of two words. Bet Reshit. Two beginnings. At the beginning of creation, there was immediate duality. There is heaven, there is earth. There is yin, there is yang. Beis Reshis da Almo Nikra, as the Kabbalistic teachings put it. There are two dimensions to creation, in its essence, in its nucleus form. There is this and there is that. The human being comes in the world to actually synthesize this. What we tend to do is we tend to come into the world to polarize it. And we attach ourselves to one or the other because it's the path of least resistance. You understand that the Jew is actually designed to navigate and manage this tension. We have a godly soul, we have an animalistic soul. These things, these engines drive our management ability of these two worlds. We should spend a lot less time fighting it and a lot more time embracing it. And in there lies happiness. I know that Deepak Chopra won't be happy with me, but actually that's the spot of happiness. It's not a destination. It's about actually embracing the tension and moving forward. However, I digress. Bees have a capacity and an ability to find that flower, irrespective of circumstance and situations. Flies continually find the rubbish, the garbage as you guys call it, irrespective of circumstance and situation. Where are we? Where do we go? So here's something. The world does not like the Jew. Have a good day, shalom. Period. You know why it doesn't like the Jew? By the way, let's get something straight. Whose fault is anti-Semitism? God's. He woke up one morning and decided, you will be the chosen nation. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu torata. I will give my Torah to you, and I've chosen you amongst the nations of the world. I say that every time I make Kiddush on Friday night. So first let's get this thing straight. It's his problem, not mine. He created anti-Semitism. It was his notion. He decided it was a good idea that one singular nation should be favored amongst the other nations of the world. And this was way before Barbra Streisand, starting the movie Chosen. Okay, God decided that the Jews should be chosen. And by definition, because he said you're chosen, it innately and naturally created a notion that they're not chosen. You're not chosen. You are chosen. So we need to just understand that actually anti-Semitism, which is a misnomer, but we'll deal with that later, dislike of Jews is actually a godly design. This is number one. What is in its essence the issue? What is the problem? What actually is the problem that the world has with me? Why do you not like me? I do nothing but build. I do nothing but innovate. I do nothing but imaginate. I do nothing but give. I help. I support the underdog. I voted Democratic for 5,000 years and will continue to do so. Okay, because it helps people. I help, and I will do everything and anything I can. Anything. As a Jew, particularly a Jew living in the United States of America, to have it known that I am good. I'm good for society. I'm good for the underdog. I'm good for humanity. But you don't like me. You tolerate me because you need me, but you don't like me. Why do you not like me? By the way, I'm relatively low maintenance. Relatively. People kid about this. Let me, Jews are bloody impossible, right? I mean, they're impossible to deal with. Impossible. There's only one thing more difficult than dealing with a Jew, and that's being married to a Jewish guy. Okay, you got to. And a South African Jewish man, impossible. But let me tell you something. Okay, you think the Japanese are easy to deal with? I do business with these people. there are other nations of the world that are high maintenance people, fastidious, particular, this, that, and the other. I mean, in relative terms, we're not that bad off. And we bring a lot of value to the table. So I'd like to ask you a question, world. Why do you not like me? Why? And when you think about the question and actually analyze it at its core, it's even a more fundamental question. Facebook promoted the BDS movement, by the way. Let me rephrase that. It founded its energy, essentially, with Facebook, which is owned by a Jew, of course. All the arrows that come our way, right, that get thrown at us, we had a hand in it. We have a hand in it. 2 weeks ago, I was in London, and I was saying I had a speaking engagement there with Ernst & Young on a Monday. I came in before Shabbat, on Thursday night. Friday, I spent Shabbat at this hotel, the Pillar Hotel in Hendon, London. I don't know if any of you folks have ever been there. It's a wonderful, nice little hotel there, right? So I come in, Erev Shabbat, before Shabbat, and I meet this young lady. They're setting up candles over there, and I meet this young lady, this Israeli, and she says to me, "Shalom." I say, "Shalom, how are you?" And we bagel. We have a discussion. This is my sister, I'm her brother, right? And we're talking. She says, "No, she's here on business. She comes to London for 3-month stints, every couple of months." Very nice. Who do you work for? She said, "We work for a technology company out of Tel Aviv. And we have a leading global technology for high broadcast quality. They work with major broadcast corporations, and there's a technology that is used. The first initial beginning of a broadcast session, as something pops into broadcast, is its most critical time. And they have a technology that allows for this initial broadcast to be the best possible quality it can be." Fantastic. "So who do you work for? Who do you guys come and work with in London?" She says, "We handle all of BBC's broadcast all over the world." CNN does the best job it can, and they're based in Atlanta. I've tried revoking their lease many times, it doesn't work. But BBC trash us like no one else. Sky, BBC, horrendous. I've debated people on BBC, it's unbelievable. They use our technology. It's unbelievable. You see this? Do you know that you cannot even flush a toilet at the Hilton, I spoke for IHG, Intercontinental Hotel Group. IHG hotels, you cannot flush a toilet without using Israeli technology. Do you understand this? Because there is a certain mechanism that controls the water level access in the toilets throughout the entire real estate portfolio all over the world, made in Tel Aviv. You can't fly a plane, you can't use a cell phone, you cannot have most surgical procedures that require MRI, CAT scan. Okay, you talk about pharmacological, input, forget it. Jimmy Carter, one of our great heroes, right? This moron, okay, unfortunately has cancer. The only 2 drugs that work at all are from Israel. But he's quite happy to spend 32 years of his life trashing Israel, supporting Palestinians, and calling us occupiers and everything else under the sun. But when he needs our drugs, he needs our drugs. So I have a question to ask you. Why do you hate me? Why? What have I done that causes this kind of hate? I kill less than any other nation on earth. I mean, look at our IDF. Look at the losses we occur. You know that unfortunately today 2 people were killed in Jerusalem as we're sitting here, bringing light into the world. In essence, because of politically correct policies that are friendly and digestible, that no other army in the world would stand for. In our city, a profile that we didn't move on because we had questions about whether it would be appropriate or not, wouldn't be digestible, turned out to be a massive, massive liability. These guys pulled out weapons because they used a kid as a proxy. Shoot him in the head, finished, end of story, have a good day. Any other army in the world would do that. But we don't do that. So I ask you again, why do you hate me? I want to share with you why they hate us so much. Now, this information that I'm about to share with you will demonstrate to you why they hate my guts. But what I really wanted to serve in the time that we have together, it will redefine for you not so much why they dislike me, but why you are so unique and so particular and so distinct. This phenomena called the Jew. So watch something. We need to move in to some spiritual physics. Fasten your seatbelt, but follow me, because we're going to come out at the end and you're going to have an amazing piece of information. The Holy Kabbalah teaches us the following. Every single Jew knows one thing. You know how to say Shema, and you know that the seventh day of the week is Shabbat. What does the word Shabbat actually come from, by the way? Shabbat comes from what root word? It comes from the word? Lashevet. Shev. Shev is the shorish. Settle, sit. Like a toshev or a yishuv. Sit, settle. What else does shev root itself in? 7. How do you say number 7? Sheva. Here is a very complicated, perplexing question that the Kabbalistic literature asks. What took God exactly 7 days to create the world? Here's what we say. Work for 6 days. Be busy with work. And on the 7th day, Shabbat la Hashem Elokecha. Will be the 7th day, will be the Sabbath. Shabbat vayinafash. The soul will be on the 7th day. So God created the world in 7 days. We have 7 days to the Gregorian calendar, correct? 6 days he worked, on the 7th day he rested, Shabbat, that's it, have a good day. You have the 7th day Adventists, they built a big business out of this. I have a question to ask you. What took God 7 days to create the world? I don't understand this. He's God. He's omniscient, he's omnipotent, he can do anything. What took him 7 days? See, it's a very perplexing question. Here's why. If he needed 7 days, he's not God. If he doesn't need 7 days, what took him 7 days? And why 7 and not 8 and not 12 and not 2? 3 days. How do you come up with the 7th thing? And if you're an omniscient, omnipotent God that can do anything, why were you defined and confined by time? Now, this is a very perplexing question that is discussed in the deep Kabbalistic literature. So I need to share something with you. The Kabbalah says the following thing. Every single thing in the world has 6 dimensions of access. Actually, Da Vinci wrote about this and he referred to them as the 6 axles of access. So I want to show you something. Every single thing in the world, everything, has 6 dimensions by which you can grab hold of it. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Everything. What immediately is going on in your head is 1 second. But something that's round, like a cup, for example, does not have 6 dimensions. It actually does. It's a cube that has been cylindricized, basically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just a cylindrical version of a cube. Everyone following me so far? There are 6 dimensions. Everything in the world has 6 dimensions by which I can get hold of it. You see this sign here, this beautiful YEHUDI sign? Hear that? 6 dimensions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now here's the thing. There is a 7th dimension to all existence that the eye doesn't see. Where is that?
Elsewhere.
Where is that?
Elsewhere.
Okay, that is what Da Vinci called volumetric space. That is internal space. The Kabbalistic writings call it makom hapnimi, the internal space of volume. There's internal space that is volumetric. That is the 7th dimension of existence. Where are we sitting right now? In a room. We're sitting in a room here, us holy Jews, and where exactly are we? We're in the 7th dimension, in the inside space of this room. This room has 6 dimensions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? We are inside the room. We're in the 7th dimension. Watch something. How many days in the week? 6 and a 7th. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Where is Shabbat? Inside space. Internal space. Now the Kabbalah teaches us the following thing. Here's the magic. Your head is about to explode. Fasten your seatbelt. Here is magic. From the outside, when you are not in the internal space, it's possible that your world can be fragmented and separate. What I've said to you is the following. Until you come into this room, you have no relationship with the volume of this room. I can have you walk past the corridor and you just see the one side, and you can actually create an illusion. For example, I can take this phone and I can just show you this dimension. And if I hold it in a certain way, there can be an illusion that all that exists is actually this plane, nothing else. It is only when I start to move the thing around and give you perspective that you kind of see that there are other dimensions. But still, I can create an optical illusion. I can show you this phone like this. You see that? And you think that all that exists is that. See, it's possible that something can happen on Monday at 11:37 in the morning. That's here. And you think that it's isolated, independent. It has no connection and relevance to the totality of your life. It's just an isolated event that happened. You happen to be sitting on the highway and the turnpike, and a sand truck delivering building material dumped out 13 tons of sand on the hood of your car at 11:37, and it basically took you out for the whole day, and it was just a horrendous mess. Now you're dealing with insurance, etc. Now it's Thursday afternoon at 4:42. This is now a different episode of your life. And you think, because you are just living in dimensional space, that that's that and this is this. Except you're a Jew. And as a Jew, you are Sabbath observant. You keep the Sabbath. You don't live your life outside in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You are Sabbath observant. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat. There is one nation on earth that I'm going to give the 7th dimension to uphold and keep and guard. You know who that is? B'nei Yisrael, the Jewish people. They will hold the 7th dimension. And they will live their lives inside out. All other nations of the world will live their lives outside in. One nation will live their lives inside out. What happens in the 7th dimension? In the 7th dimension, it's impossible to have an illusion. Why? Two critical reasons. You cannot help but see connection in the seventh dimension. I cannot have you in this room. Follow me here, guys. I cannot have you in this room and tell you a lie. I cannot say to you that that wall has no connection whatsoever to that wall. I cannot. I can't say to you that Sunday is not connected to Monday in any way at all, and which is not connected to Tuesday, which is not connected to Wednesday, which is not at all connected to Thursday or Friday. Why can I not tell you that? Because you are in the seventh dimension, and there are two things you see in the seventh dimension. The one is total connectivity. In the seventh dimension, you see how everything is totally and absolutely connected to everything else. The illusion of separation does not exist in the seventh dimension. Only where? Only from the outside in does illusion offer itself. But from the inside out, there is no illusion. I cannot come to you and say to you, what happened on Monday at 11:37 with a dump truck has no relationship at all to what's going on Thursday at 10:42 in the afternoon. I cannot offer that. Reason I cannot offer that is I'm talking to a Sabbath observer. I'm talking to guardians of the seventh dimension, people who live inside the world. You see connection. You perceive it and know it to be so by your default position. The other thing about the seventh dimension is that you see that there's a center that is equidistant to everything. There is one central fulcrum space that is equidistant to all dimensions. So here's the problem. Why did God need 7 days to create the world? He didn't need 7 days, of course not. He's God. He's omniscient, he's omnipotent. He made time. Time doesn't work for him. He doesn't work for time, time works for him. He created time. Of course God doesn't need a seventh dimension. 7 days, he needs a seventh dimension. He needed the inner nucleus space, known as the seventh dimension. The only way you have a 7 is if you have 6 structures around it. So actually what happened is, Hashem began the creation of the world with the inner dimension. And the Talmud teaches us from the Medrash, as the Kabbalah explains to us, that the creation of the world began with Shabbat. Now if I have a 7th dimension, I now need to build a 6, a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 1 around it. And that's how you land up with 7 days in a week. And what's fascinating about it, by the way, is that many have tried to shift the calendar to 4 days, 11 days. The Romans did their best to work this out. It doesn't happen. The world has, ever think about this? Why is there a 7-day week? In 2016, when we're so advanced, we can't come up with another sort of work week. You see what I'm saying? How is this? Because it's actually built in to the spiritual physiology of life. It is part and parcel of the physical mechanics of existence on earth. Shabbat, the 7th dimension. You have to understand something. When you ladies go and light Shabbat candles on Friday afternoon, and when we as a community embrace Shabbat, we are actually upholding the entire raison d'etre for the creation of the world. We are holding up the 7th dimension. This is the function of the Jew. This, my friends, is why they hate us so much. They hate us politely, but they hate us because we have this uncanny, ridiculous ability to see connection, to see seamless connectivity where other people simply do not. We are the people that come in and see, we call it value, we call it potential. What it really is connection. We see how this thing will lead to that thing. which will lead to the other, where other people just do not. They just don't see it. It's not that they can't see it, it's that they're not programmed to see it. Because they're Tuesday dwellers, or they're Thursday dwellers, or they're Sunday dwellers. And by the way, these are lovely, wonderful people, and we need Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We need them. Because otherwise we don't have a seventh dimension. But just to understand, that's not our space. Our space is inside. We're seventh dimension people. So this is how it happens. This is what unfolds. You go get a job at Macy's in the cosmetics department on a Tuesday afternoon, and 3 months later you're running the department. What happened here? I don't understand, like, what happened? The Jew happened. That's what happened. The seventh dimension arrived at the cosmetic department at Macy's. And suddenly dots got connected, things got put together. Value potential opportunities got seen and acted upon and mobilized that were there, but just not articulated, not apparent to the naked eye. They hate my guts because I work with the world given me, but see things that other people don't. That's what eats them up the most. My genius is not that I bring things from outside in. My genius is that I work from the inside out. That's my genius. See, Yitzhak Pullman, he plays a 4-string violin. Correct. I want to ask you a question. Why are people paying $200, $300, $400 a ticket to go here and play the same 4-string violin that Jonine Cho plays? Okay, but tickets. She's a fantastic, Chinese musician, magnificent. But it's a $65 ticket. I don't understand it. What does she have does Pullman have a 5th string that she doesn't? You see, what happens here? It's the space in between with Pullman. You see what I'm saying? He's playing the violin from Shabbos out. He gets that bow on those strings, and he plays a 7th dimensional violin. The ear hears it. There's just a connectivity. There's a nuance. There's a slip-in. When he hits, puts a phrase together that just doesn't exist by the people. So you pay $400 to go listen to him. This is what it is. See, is Dr. Goldman looking at a different set of MRI than, Matwa Patel in India? You see, I'm just asking you a question. It's not a different X-ray. It's not a different MRI. What it is that Dr. Patel, who's a very finessed physician, by the way, great guy, lovely physician, won all sorts of awards and all sorts of good academic credential. But he's Wednesday afternoon. He's dimension number 4 coming in. So he has to scammer. He has to fight his way in to total connectivity. He'll get there, possibly. But Goldman starts there. He just does. This is why they dislike us. They can't stand us. They dislike us. Because we start inside the 7th dimension, we work out. It's much quicker, it's much efficient, it's much more effective. We get straight to the ROI and the bottom line. Our revenue streams much more quickly get to productivity levels than any other organizations on earth. Read a book called The Startup Nation. It's unbelievable. It's uncanny. It's uncanny. Coming out of, you look at those trends, those graph trends. It's insanity. Our startups generate profit exponentially quicker because our start point is just this much closer to the revenue spot. It's unbelievable. By the way, you ever think about this? Our brothers and sisters in Israel. You ever think about this? It's unbelievable. We're sitting there in a country, we're surrounded by seething Arabs. They hate us, they want to kill us. Okay? We have more technology that's running the world coming out of Israel than anywhere else in the world. It's inexplicable.
That is irrelevant to the fact of whether the Jew observes Shabbat or not. It's just built in.
Forget it.
There's nothing to do with the observance.
Absolutely not. Not at all. You do not make, you don't keep Shabbos. Shabbos keeps you. You don't keep Shabbos. Forget about that. It's a phenomenal thing. Here's Chaim Yankel. He lives on a yeshuv outside of Jerusalem somewhere, in Yad Binyamin. Okay, he gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning. He has a kos cafe hafuch. He does that, the other. He speaks. He goes to shul. Doesn't go to shul. He smokes a packet of cigarettes with his friends. He sits on an umbrella somewhere. Then he catches the bus to the train. Then he gets the train to Tel Aviv. He comes. He gets there. He comes to work. It's about 10:30, 11. It's no joke. It's like 10:30 in the morning. He gets to work. He comes in. He checks in. He sees what's going on. At 12 o'clock, he's got to have lunch because siesta's at 2 o'clock, right? And then he's got to get back on the train at 4. The guy worked, for 4 hours. Meanwhile, you've got his counterparts in Japan and Korea and England. Okay, they've been working 24 hours around with teams of academics and scientists and biologists. It's unbelievable. He spends less time, she spends less time than any of her other counterparts anywhere in the world. And she gets there quicker, faster, more effectively, more efficiently than anyone else. Explain it to me. Very simple. She starts inside. So she gets a set of facts, she lays them out. Her data comes in. And the same data that everyone else all over the world is getting. The only difference is she's looking at this data that's got that. You see that. Oh, okay, good. Here. Everyone else has to kind of work their way through it. I got to go. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Got it. I'm inside. People ask me, because I once had the opportunity to meet Simon Cowell, from America's Got Talent. I spoke for the production team in California. So people, guys, if people have asked me, how come Jews don't win America's Got Talent? It's an interesting thing, right? No, you don't see Jews winning America's Got Talent. You know why we don't win America's Got Talent? Because we own it. You want to win it? Own it. It's a $1 billion a year business. We're there. We're not here. This is who we are. This is our construct. Everything we touch, it's about getting inside of, not coming at. The human being, by the way, watch something absolutely amazing, fascinating, from the Kabbalistic sources. The 7th dimension. This is what you and I uphold. This 7th dimension of total connectivity. You ever think about this? Our construct as a human being. So the Kabbalah says as follows. The human being is a mini construct of 7 dimensions. 2 legs, 1, 2, 3, 4. Torso, 5, 6, your head. Those are your 6, in fact, in medical school that teaches your 6 touch points. That's it. Where's your 7th dimension? Your inner space, where your soul lives. The Kabbalah teaches further. Your face, your head tells the whole story. How many dimensions in your head? Watch something amazing, absolutely unbelievable. The 7th dimension, remember, is the space of total connectivity. It cannot tell a lie. There can be no duality. It's either connected, I see it's connected, or it's not connected. Watch something. Your head. 1, 2 ears. 1, 2. 2 eyes. 3, 4. 2 nostrils. 5, 6. What's the 7th dimension of your face? Your mouth. Ask the Kabbalistic teachings a question. You've got 2 of everything else. How come you don't have 2 mouths? The 7th dimension cannot be split. You cannot divide it out. It's either so or it's not so. Truth is not divisible. You only have 1 mouth because that is the Shabbat of your face. It's the 7th dimension of your face, your mouth. So in short, what I'm sharing with you is this very, very powerful information. Very powerful. You live inside of the 7th dimension. You get in your car, you are in the 7th dimension of your car. You're inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get in your bedroom, your kitchen, you are in the 7th dimension. There's not only physical space you occupy. You, because you are of the Jewish people, actually occupy this space spiritually. That is your home. When a couple gets married under the chuppah, one of the blessings we say is, may you be blessed to build a bayit ne'eman b'Yisrael, a home amongst the Jewish people. What is a home? A home is 6 dimensions and a 7th. What I'm actually saying is, may you be blessed to be upholders of the 7th dimension as a Jewish home is. That's what a Jewish home is. How do we fight this? How do we combat anti-Semitism? How do we really deal with it on a day-to-day basis? By the way, I'm a big hawk. Okay, I'm very politically incorrect because I'm not an American and I come from another country. I'm a big hawk. Don't ask, you don't want my solutions. However, I'm asking you, how do we fight this on a day-to-day practical level, out there in social, commercial, familial environments? You build a Jewish home. You uphold that 7th dimension. You stand, you live for the values that the 7th dimension articulates. Hashem echad u'shmo echad. God is one, His name is one. Ein oid milvado. There is nothing else but God. It's all connected. There is no other source and energy bringing things together. It's all held by one universal source. You go out there, you articulate that. Everything you do, you touch it. You transact, you say thank you. You know why you say thank you? You say thank you because it's gratitude. Ultimate gratitude to the source of where this thing came from. Shabbos. The entire world was created for the 7th dimension. And I leave you with this. Go back to that word Bereshit, at the beginning of creation. Watch something amazing. God did not need 7 days to create the world. What He needed was a 7th dimension. The 7th dimension comes with 6 other components. This is hidden in the word Bereshit. You have a bet, you have a resh, you have an aleph, you have a shin, you have a yud and a taf. I want you to take out 3 letters from the word Bereshit. Take out the yud, take out the aleph, take out the resh, which is the word ya'ar, which means see. What are you left with? A shin, a bet, and a taf. Shabbat. See Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom. Any questions before we head off, please?
Is there a reason why we have this dimension? What is it for?
Excuse me?
The 7 mentions.
Is there a reason why we have that dimension?
Absolutely.
What is it for? To become rich?
That's a great question. No, becoming rich is a byproduct, actually, of the 7th dimension. It's a great question you're asking. It's a very simple answer. Where is the other place that God has the 7th dimension? Lamala. In heaven. In the angelic existence, all you have is the 7th dimension. God woke up one morning, He said, I want the 7th dimension where it's not obvious, where it has to be worked for. I want there to be a 7th dimension in a world that is not angelic. You see, angels God has. That's why you and I exist. It's very interesting, by the way. In a lot of the Catholic, in a lot of the Christian belief specifically, the whole purpose of man's pursuit of religion is to become angelic. This is not our religion. Our religion is actually to become man-like, to get in the physical material world and there be angelic. When the non-Jews pray, how do they pray? They pray down, correct? When you and I, we pray to God, what do? We look up. I take earth and I send it up to heaven. They bring heaven, lehefech. I bring heaven, I pull it down to earth. You understand? They deal in earth, thinking how low they have fallen to head up to earth. This is not our religion. It's a different way, it's just not ours. God has an angelic space there. The question is down here. And that's what Shabbos is. This is a very deep question you're asking. It is there are two primary sources where it is explained. The Tanya of the Alter Rebbe of Chabad and the Rambam writes in the Moreh Nevuchim. The Medrash explains, Ratza, you speak Hebrew? Come on, kacha. Ratza HaKadosh Baruch Hu lihiyot lo dira betachtonim. Zeu, ze katuv kacha. Finished. Knowledgeable lady.
Jews hate us because we are not doing dira betachtonim.
This they don't understand. It's too advanced.
It's not about them understanding.
They don't get
they
this.
Are wired. Don't you think that this seventh dimension, if we don't light up the world with,
Ken,
they choke. They count on it.
100%.
We have to serve them.
Correct.
And maybe Shabbat is the only day that they serve us.
You're saying a very good thing, by the way. It's me'od ma'anyen. It's another very fascinating thing. People think that the way the Jews count the calendar, we all do this. We say, Sunday, here's a week. If I say to you, what does a week look like? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Nachon? But actually it's not correct. When is Yom Rishon? You see, here's what I'm saying to you. We start on Shabbat. Hayom Yom Shabbat Kodesh. That's it. We begin with Shabbat. Then we have 6 days that follow it. When we uphold Shabbat, not only in terms of its physical observance, when we uphold the idea of Shabbat, as you are saying, we are actually lighting up the rest of the week. We are responsible for the light in the world on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And when we collapse, it collapses. It's a very, very important thing, this. Explosives come in very small packages. The Jews are a very minute member of the human race, but we are responsible for a tremendous amount of efficacy in the world. L'chaim.